Welcome to Speedy Walkthroughs, where we show just the important stuff to beating the game. For first time viewers, this will look different to a normal walkthrough. It'll show just the essentials, so you don't need to spend a long time watching this video. I won't talk about fighting specific enemies unless they're very difficult, but I will show you where to go and what to do. Today we're playing Pitfall, which is one of the very first platformers for the Atari 2600, and it's one of the only games you can just beat on the Atari 2600. So we're going to be getting the perfect ending today, which is collecting all the treasures. If you end up enjoying this, then a subscription would always be appreciated as it helps out the channel a lot. So before we start, I want to go over the premise of the game. You can run left and right and jump. It's just a standard platformer, really. You want to collect all the treasures in the game. So if you look up a map online, you'll see there's treasures everywhere. You can pretty much just follow the same path that I'm following in this, and that's pretty much the optimal way to get all the treasures. You do have a 20-minute time limit, and that's for real. If you do it optimally, you'll probably still only have about a minute left. If you do want the perfect score in this game, you also have to take no damage. You'll notice every time you hit like a log or something, your score will decrease. If that happens at all, you will not get the best ending. You can, however, die and still get the best ending, and you can see the 2 lives in the top left there. So let's make a little start. We're going to start by heading off to the right and jumping over everything that we see so far here. Eventually we'll come across a little treasure, and that's going to be our first location. With these crocodiles, you want to wait till their heads are closed before you jump on them. You can jump on the back of their heads if their heads are open, but it is a bit risky. To get on and off the vine, you just want to hit down on the joystick. So we're going to get that treasure, and we're going to keep going to the right, and then we're going to get another treasure. So the way this game works is a little bit weird. You go screen left or right when you go left or right, but you'll notice there's that bottom section as well. With the bottom section, you're going to go across 3 screens. So we're going to go down this ladder and left. And every time I go past one screen transition, that's actually going across 3 screens. And that's why going underground is a really fast way to get around in this game. It's sort of a weird design, but it's fun to do the optimal routing involving it. The other thing that you might notice is that if you go across the screens 3 at a time, you might miss a treasure. For example, in a section coming up, we're going to be missing a treasure and have to backtrack. So we're going to keep running. Now, the other reason that going left is really good in this game is because you'll notice all the logs are rolling left. And since the logs are rolling left, we don't have to navigate and jump over them because we're sort of going at the same speed as the logs there. So left is pretty much optimal here. Going right's only going to cause trouble. We got that next treasure, and now we're just going to keep going through. Alright, so I will speed this up a bit so you can just see the general route through the game, but as long as you follow what I'm doing and go down all the ladders and up all the ladders that I'm doing, you'll be fine. This is the bit where we're going to have to go right because we've missed a treasure before. So we'll get that treasure, but then we'll head back to the left. You can beat this game just by basically going to the left and just not going underground at all, but you'll probably run out of time before you get to the last treasure in that case. And one other thing about going left involves dying in this game. If you die, you'll come out the left side of the screen, so that can be quite good. If you die trying to get across the screen, then you're going to come out the left anyway, so you'll get across the screen. Whereas if you're traveling right, you'd still have to get across the screen after dying. And if you died on that screen, it's probably a difficult screen. Alright, we got our next treasure there, so we're just going to keep navigating across. If you do happen to see a screen that has nothing on it, what will probably happen is a hole will open up from the center, so be aware of that. Make sure that you don't just run straight into the middle because you might not be able to make it across. The other little trade-off you have to make in this game is the underground section with the scorpions. You'll find that jumping over those is pretty difficult. So you do get that faster speed, but you get the trade-off of a bit more difficulty. So just keep that in mind when choosing your route through this game. Now, one little thing you can do to save a bit of time in this game, although it's a bit advanced, is use the ladders to get a little bit more speed. So you'll notice every time I see a ladder, I'm going down and then jumping back up off the ladder. That's because it zips you forward onto the ladder a little bit. So if you want to eke out those little fractions of a second, you can feel free to do that. Although more often than not, you'll probably just end up losing time. But it can be really good if you're going for like a speed run or something like that. Or if you're just wanting to get that extra bit of time because you're having difficulty hitting the time limit. So you can see here a very big section of underground travel. We're traveling heaps and heaps of screens here. You can see that treasure underneath, so I have to come back up and grab that treasure. You really do need to follow a map for this game. If you try and do your underground movement without a map, you'll find that you just hit walls all the time and can't really make it through. One other thing that can make you go a little bit quicker is jumping on a vine, even if you don't have to. Because they swing sort of to the left really quickly, you'll find that actually speeds you up quite often. If there is a hole that's opening and closing, it's often better to just jump on the vine rather than try and navigate over the hole, just because it might open and you might die. Alright, we're getting very close to the end of the game here. Just a couple more treasures to grab. Alright, and that's the end of the game. So 114,000 is the perfect score. And that's pretty much the best that you can possibly do there. So 142 is sort of a pretty good time to get with no mistakes. But you can imagine that if you make a few mistakes here and there, it can be very easy to run out of time. So this is a really enjoyable game in the sense that it's very hard to actually get all the treasures within the time limit. Especially if you try and do it without taking any damage and getting that perfect score there. But if you can do it, great job, because it is not an easy task. And it's a very fun and very good game for the Atari. If you found this video useful, then a subscription would always be appreciated as it helps out a lot. And I hope this helped you get through this quite difficult game. Thanks for watching.